Here's a little piece of trivia for you. If California were its own country, it would rank independently as the world's fifth largest economy, meaning that it seems the Golden State certainly lives up to its name. It's attracted fortune seekers since the beginning, whether it be literal gold diggers or aspiring movie stars, but not all that glitters is gold, as it's also managed to draw in some of the most terrifying cryptids there are. First off is the Lone Pine Mountain Devil. You may have heard of the Jersey Devil, the most reputable resident of my home state. But what you may not have heard of is his West Coast counterpart. The Lone Pine Mountain Devil is described as a chimera-like creature, large enough to be a suspect in multiple disappearances of livestock and even humans, but with a bird-like head filled with fangs and bat-like wings. The first reports came in the mid-19th century when gold rush miners began finding coyote and bobcat carcasses in the desert. One of the most frightening cryptid stories on record, it's even said to have been responsible for the disappearance of 37 settlers in the area. Next up is Tahoe Tessie. Like Loch Ness in Scotland, Lake Tahoe is said to be home to a monster of its own. Like Nessie, Tessie is described as some sort of large plesiosaur that somehow managed to survive until today. The first sightings of the creature came in the 19th century from native tribes local to the area. In the 1950s, 2 men sighted the creature and reported it keeping up with their boat going 60 miles per hour. Other sightings would come throughout the 20th century and into the 21st, with reports coming from everyone from divers to bartenders to even police officers reporting encounters with Tessie. At number 3 is Paddy the Bigfoot. Usually, I don't like to include Bigfoot on these lists. It's been cited in 49 out of 50 states, so they aren't really unique to any of them, but California is the home of Hollywood, so I can't leave out the most famous cryptid movie star of all time. October 20th, 1967. Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin set out to shoot a mockumentary on Bigfoot and ultimately end up finding the real thing. Due to them having professional film equipment, they were able to capture footage that has not been matched in over half a century since then, and has never once, ever, been debunked. Next up are the Dark Watchers of the Santa Lucia Mountains. These things are impossibly tall figures that are best described as shadow men that vanish into thin air when approached. Even for cryptids, they're unusually otherworldly, and there's really just no natural explanation here. American author John Steinbeck ended up mentioning them in a story he penned called Flight. Pepe looked suspiciously back every minute or so, and his eyes sought the tops of the ridges ahead. Once, on a white barren spur, he saw a black figure for a moment, but he looked quickly away, for it was one of the Dark Watchers. No one knew who the Watchers were, nor where they lived, but it was better to ignore them, and never to show interest in them. They did not bother one who stayed on the trail and minded his own business. What makes this story even more interesting is that John's son, Thomas Steinbeck, claimed to have not only seen the Watchers, but even wrote a book on the topic titled In Search of the Watchers. At number 1, we have some of the strangest cryptids in the land, the Fresno Nightcrawlers. So, as you can see here, they appear to be some type of snow-white, bipedal creatures that don't have arms. Don't ask me how that evolutionary tree works. They're small, under 2 feet tall, and have a weird gait. Due to them not really matching any known creatures, theories about their origins are pretty wild. Everything from some form of primate with arms so short they appear to not even exist, to some extraterrestrial type creature or interdimensional entity, to even a haunted pair of pants being suggested. Although their name does come from Fresno, California, their fame seems to be spreading, with sightings coming out of Ohio and Poland as well. So, do you agree with my list? Any other home of Hollywood horrors you would have included? Let me know in the comments section below.